Welcome back for another deep dive. And today we're going deep into the spiritual seek. You're clearly interested in self-discovery, but maybe not just the surface level stuff. You want something more, little more soul.
Well, you've come to the right place. The spiritual seek, it really goes beyond your typical, personality quiz. It's this blend of psychology and philosophy and even spirituality.
Okay, yeah, no, I was looking at the website and I saw that they have a bunch of different tests. Mental age, awareness, awakening, and even one called youth wisdom, which that one kind of intrigued me.
Yeah, they do cover a lot of ground, don't they? And what I think is really interesting is how they've incorporated elements of Greek mythology and even artificial intelligence into their tests. So it's definitely not, your typical sort of personality test website.
Okay, now you've got me really curious. So before we actually get into the specifics of each test, can you give us a little bit more context? Like what makes the spiritual seek so unique?
Well, they seem to have really thought about, the limitations of a lot of personality tests. I mean, a lot of them are either too basic or they give you the same results over and over or they just don't feel accurate. So the spiritual seek is really aiming to go deeper and they've designed these tests to be really impartial, to kind of steer clear of gender bias and to present this really neutral perspective. So it's really letting you explore your true self without any kind of preconceived notions, I think.
So it's more about getting an accurate and unbiased picture of who you are than rather than just trying to fit into some predetermined box.
Exactly. And they've really put a lot of thought into the philosophy and psychology behind each test. So you're not just getting a label, you're actually getting a deeper understanding of the concepts at play.
Yeah, okay. No, I really like that. It's kind of like understanding the why behind the what, right?
Precisely. And that actually brings us to one of the tests that caught my eye, which is the mental age test. Most of us, we get so hung up on our chronological age, but this test, it actually throws that out the window.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So how does it determine your mental age then?
It's really all about your mindset. The test helps you determine if you approach life with a youthful curiosity, just kind of embracing new experiences, or if you have a more seasoned perspective, maybe a bit more skeptical.
So like, are we talking like get off my lawn kind of vibes?
Well, not necessarily. It's more about, recognizing the patterns in your thinking and how you process information. Do you question everything or do you take things at face value? And here's the really interesting part. They actually use artificial intelligence to analyze your responses.
Oh, wow. AI. Okay, that's not what I was expecting with the mental age test. How does that work?
Well, they don't, reveal all their secrets, but it definitely adds this extra layer of analysis. It's able to pick up on nuances and patterns in your responses that a traditional test might miss. But moving on, another test that I think is really interesting is the awareness test. And this one uses this really vivid analogy of an ant's perspective versus a hawk's perspective.
Okay, yeah, that is a pretty striking image. I think I see where this is going.
Right, so think about it. The ant, down on the ground, it only sees what's right in front of it. It's viewed as really limited. But the hawk, soaring high above, it has this panoramic view. You can see the whole landscape. So the awareness test, it challenges you to expand your perspective beyond that limited ant view, and it pushes you to see beyond the immediate and embrace a wider, more holistic awareness.
So it's not just about paying attention. It's really about the scope of your awareness.
Yeah.
Right? Like almost like expanding your consciousness.
You got it. And they actually provide in-depth explanations for each question, so you can really, really delve into the why behind your responses. And this actually leads us to the awakening test, which I see as this natural progression from awareness.
Interesting. Okay. So how are awareness and awakening connected in this context?
Well, awareness is about, expanding your perception. Awakening takes it a step further. It encourages you to move past the ego, past material concerns, and into a higher level of consciousness. It's a journey from the self to the self, if you will.
Okay. Whoa, that sounds pretty intense. How does the test actually measure that?
Well, it asks you to consider yourself as more than just a physical being. The spiritual seek, they describe it as an ethereal entity inhabiting a physical body.
Okay, hold on. I need a little clarification. I mean, ethereal entity, that sounds a bit out there. Can you break that down a little?
Sure. They're basically referring to, the idea of a soul or a spirit. It's a way of encouraging you to connect with the part of yourself that exists beyond the physical world. And like the awareness test, they offer these really detailed explanations for each question, so you can really, grasp the deeper spiritual implications.
Okay, that helps. So it seems like they're really emphasizing this journey of self-discovery. Not just providing a quick snapshot, but what about like a more standard personality test? Do they have something like that?
You do. They call it the Great Personality Test, and it's actually based on the Myers-Briggs system, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. But what I think sets this one apart is that it has this self-calibration feature.
Self-calibration. Okay, that sounds cool, but I'm not exactly sure what that means. How does a personality test like calibrate itself?
Well, basically, it means that the test gets more accurate the more you use it. It kind of learns from your responses and refines its analysis over time. So the more you interact with it, the more nuanced and accurate your results become.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's impressive. It's almost like it's developing a deeper understanding of you as you go. And with 65 questions and 5 possible responses for each one, it sounds like they've really built in the capacity for nuance.
Exactly. And that really aligns with the Spiritual Seek's commitment to providing a more personalized and in-depth experience. They're really encouraging you to engage in a process of self-discovery, not just get a quick label.
Yeah. I'm really liking what I'm hearing so far. This is definitely a step up from your typical online personality test.
Yeah, absolutely. And that journey of self-discovery, it actually continues with their test on emotional intelligence, or EQ. We hear so much about IQ these days, but EQ is arguably just as important, if not more so, for navigating the complexities of life.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, being able to understand and manage your emotions, that's huge in today's world. But what exactly does this EQ test focus on? What are the key elements that they're assessing?
Well, it assesses all 5 core elements of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. And it doesn't just give you a score. You also get a certificate that outlines your strengths and weaknesses and gives you some valuable insight into areas you can work on.
Oh, okay. So it's like a roadmap for emotional growth.
Yeah, you could say that. It's not just about measuring your current EQ. It's really about empowering you to develop those skills further. And for those who are more logic-minded, there's the logical intelligence test. And this one focuses on what we traditionally think of as IQ.
Okay, so we've got the emotional and the spiritual covered, and now we're getting into the rational side of things. So is this like a straight up IQ test, or is there something more to it?
It really focuses on that logical, rational intellect. But I think what I find really interesting about this one is that there are no time constraints. So you can really take your time. You can think through each of the 35 questions and approach it strategically.
Oh, that's a nice change of pace from those timed IQ tests that can be so stressful. It sounds like they're creating a more relaxed and contemplative environment for assessing, logical thinking.
Exactly. It's not about putting pressure on you to perform. It's about giving you the space to think critically and showcase your abilities without feeling rushed.
Yeah, I like that. It makes the whole experience feel more approachable and less intimidating.
Yeah.
And finally, we have the test that got my eye right away, which is the youth wisdom test. And it seems like they're targeting a younger audience with this one. So what makes this one so unique?
Well, they've taken a really creative approach here. Instead of just, dry personality categories, they actually use characters from Greek mythology to represent different profiles. So it might be an Athena, known for wisdom and strategic thinking, or a Hermes, known for communication and adaptability.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's like sneaking in a lesson on Greek mythology while they're exploring their personalities.
Yeah.
It definitely sounds like a fun and engaging way to introduce young people to the idea of self-discovery.
It is, and they've even incorporated AI here as well. Blending ancient wisdom with modern technology. So it really creates this engaging and thought-provoking experience for younger users.
I love how the spiritual seek really seems to find that sweet spot between education and entertainment. They're making self-discovery accessible and enjoyable for people of all ages. So we've covered a lot of ground here from mental age to emotional intelligence and even a little bit of Greek mythology. So where should we go from here?
Well, I think it's time to take a closer look at some of these tests individually. We can really explore them in more detail and uncover some of the key insights that they offer.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Let's dive in and see what we can discover.
All right, so let's start with that mental age test, shall we? This one it really challenges us to think about, age in a different way.
Yeah, no, I'm really curious to dig into those different mindsets you mentioned.
Yeah.
Like the youthful versus the seasoned perspective, and we're not talking like wrinkles and gray hair here.
No, exactly. It's really about how you approach life and process information. Someone with a more youthful mental age, for example, they might be more impulsive, more eager to jump into new experiences without overthinking it. They just kind of thrive on novelty and aren't afraid to take risks.
Oh, okay. So like that friend who's always up for a spontaneous adventure, the one who's drag you to that new ramen place, even though you're a total creature of habit.
That's a great example. Now, someone with a more seasoned mental age, they tend to be more cautious, more analytical. They've kind of learned from their experiences and they approach new situations with a bit more careful consideration.
Yeah, okay. I could see that. So they're the ones who like read all the online reviews before committing to anything, right?
Yeah.
And always have a backup plan.
Precisely. And neither perspective is inherently better than the other. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. So knowing your mental age can really help you understand your natural tendencies and approach situations more effectively.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about kind of leveraging your strengths and being aware of any potential blind spots. Now, I got to ask about the AI aspect again. It still seems a little mysterious to me. Does it actually give you like a specific mental age, like 25 or 45?
It's not quite that literal. Think of it more as a pattern recognizer. So it analyzes your responses, looks for trends that align with certain mindsets, and then it gives you this personalized report that explains those trends and offers insights into how your mental age might be influencing your thoughts and behaviors.
Okay, that's really fascinating. It takes the concept of mental age to a whole new level.
Okay.
So we've got a good grasp on mental age.
Yeah.
What about the awareness test? You mentioned this really intriguing idea of expanding our perspective beyond, the ant view. So how does that actually play out in the test itself?
Well, the questions are designed to make you think about, your usual perception. So, for example, it might ask you how you react in a stressful situation. Do you get caught up in the immediate emotions and drama, or are you able to step back and see the bigger picture?
So it's about recognizing those moments when we're kind of stuck in that limited ant view and consciously shifting to a more expansive perspective.
Exactly. It's about cultivating that hawk perspective, seeing the interconnectedness of things, understanding the broader context, and recognizing that there's often more to a situation than meets the eye.
And you mentioned that they provide explanations for each question. So what kind of insights do those offer?
Well, they really delve into the philosophical and psychological principles behind the questions. So, for example, if a question is about your reaction to change, the explanation might talk about the concept of impermanence.
Yeah.
And how embracing change can actually lead to greater peace and fulfillment.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like those explanations are really key for really understanding the deeper meaning behind the test results, right? It's not just about getting a score. It's about gaining a new perspective. Now, the awakening test, this one seems to build on the concept of awareness, but takes it in a more spiritual direction.
You could say that. While awareness is about expanding your perception of the world around you, awakening is really about recognizing your true nature, your essence beyond the physical body and the ego. Remember that ethereal entity concept we were talking about earlier.
Right. So it's like connecting with your soul, your spirit, that part of you that transcends the material world. But how does a test actually, guide you toward that kind of awakening?
Well, the questions are designed to challenge your usual assumptions about yourself and in reality. It might ask you about your deepest values, your sense of purpose, your connection to something greater than yourself. The goal is to help you recognize that you are more than just your thoughts, your emotions, your physical body.
So it's about kind of peeling back the layers and connecting with that deeper, more essential part of yourself.
Precisely. And the explanations that they provide for each question, they offer guidance on how to cultivate that sense of awakening in your everyday life. It might encourage practices like meditation, mindfulness, connecting with nature.
It seems like they're really weaving together, psychological concepts, spiritual practices, philosophical insights to create this truly unique approach to self-discovery.
Absolutely. They're not just providing information, they're really encouraging a transformation in the way you see yourself and the world around you.
Okay, I'm really starting to get a sense of what makes the spiritual seek so special.
Mm.
It's clear they're going way beyond the surface. Now, before we move on, do we have time to touch on one more test in this section?
Absolutely. Let's talk about that great personality test. It's based on the Myers-Briggs system, which I'm sure many of our listeners are familiar with. But as we mentioned earlier, the Spiritual Seeks version has that unique self-calibration feature.
Right, right. I'm really curious to hear more about how that works in practice.
Sure. It's all about, creating a more personalized and accurate profile over time. So let's say you take the test and it identifies you as an introvert. As you continue to interact with the platform, answering more questions, exploring different aspects of yourself, the test will actually refine that assessment.
Oh, okay. So if you start to realize that you actually enjoy, certain social situations or that you thrive in collaborative work environments, the test will pick up on those nuances and kind of adjust your profile accordingly.
Exactly. It's not about putting you in this rigid box. It's
Yeah.
it's about recognizing that we're complex beings and our personalities are constantly evolving.
Yeah, that's a really interesting concept. It makes the whole personality test experience feel much more dynamic and personalized.
It is. And the fact that they have, 65 questions with five possible responses for each one really allows for that nuance. It goes beyond the simple yes or no answers that you see in a lot of personality tests.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that depth and nuance are really at the heart of the spiritual seeks approach. They're really encouraging us to delve deeper, to go beyond the surface level and really explore the complexities of who we are.
Couldn't have said it better myself. They're really inviting us to embark on this journey of self-discovery, not just get a quick snapshot.
Yeah, I like that. A journey of self-discovery. And it seems like they're providing all the tools and guidance we need, along the way.
They are. And speaking of journeys, we still have a few more tests to explore, each one offering, its own unique insights into the human experience.
Yeah. Okay, then let's continue this journey and see where it takes us next. All right, so picking up where we left off, we've got three more tests to uncover in this deep dive into the spiritual seek. Emotional intelligence, logical intelligence, and of course that intriguing youth wisdom test.
Yeah, each one offers, these unique perspectives, and it's fascinating to see how they all kind of tie into this larger journey of self-discovery that the spiritual seek promotes.
Well, and EQ or emotional intelligence, it's something that I think a lot of people are really starting to pay more attention to these days. It's not just about book smarts anymore, right?
Exactly. In a world that's becoming increasingly complex and demanding, being able to navigate our own emotions and understand the emotions of others, that's just absolutely crucial. And that's precisely where EQ comes in.
Okay, so remind me again, what exactly does this EQ test assess? We know that it covers five core elements, but I'm curious to hear more about how those actually translate into real life situations.
Sure, sure. So it all starts with self-awareness.
Mhm.
Can you recognize your own emotions as they arise and understand how they're impacting your thoughts and behaviors?
So like being able to say, okay, I'm feeling stressed right now, but is it because of this deadline? or am I just, hungry?
That's a perfect example. And then there's self-regulation, which is the ability to manage those emotions effectively. Can you calm yourself down when you're feeling overwhelmed, or motivate yourself when you're feeling discouraged?
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of us struggle with, especially in today's, fast-paced world. There's always, distractions and pressures pulling us in different directions.
It definitely is a skill that requires practice. And then there's motivation, which is not just the drive to achieve goals, but
Yeah.
but also the ability to stay resilient in the face of setbacks.
So it's not about being, you know, positive all the time. It's about having that inner strength to kind of bounce back from challenges.
Exactly. And that kind of ties into empathy, which is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others.
Yeah.
Can you put yourself in someone else's shoes and see the world from their perspective?
Yeah, it sounds like that's essential for building, strong relationships, both personally and professionally.
It is. And finally, there are social skills, which is the ability to communicate effectively, to build rapport and navigate social situations with ease.
Okay, yeah, it's really sinking in now how multifaceted EQ is.
Yeah.
It's not just one thing. It's like this whole toolkit for navigating the human experience.
Well said. And the great thing about this EQ test is that it doesn't just measure these elements. It also provides you with personalized feedback and suggestions for improvement.
Oh, okay. So you actually get like actionable insights that you can use to actually develop your EQ.
Absolutely. It highlights your strengths and weaknesses in each area, and it might suggest specific strategies or exercises that you can try. It's like having a personal EQ coach right there in your pocket.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've got our emotions covered. Now let's shift gears and talk about the logical intelligence test. This one's for all the left-brained thinkers out there, right?
It is. And
Yeah.
and remember, the spiritual seek isn't just about exploring the spiritual and emotional aspects of ourselves. They also recognize that logical thinking is a vital part of who we are as well.
Right. It's all about balance, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think what sets this test apart is its emphasis on creating, this calm and focused environment for assessing, logical reasoning. Remember, there are no time constraints.
Right, right. That really takes the pressure off and allows you to think more clearly and strategically.
Exactly. And the 35 questions, they cover a range of logical skills,
Yeah.
everything from pattern recognition to deductive reasoning and problem solving.
Oh, wow. So it's a pretty comprehensive assessment. It gives you a good sense of your overall logical capabilities.
It is, and just like the EQ test, it provides personalized feedback, highlighting your strengths and weaknesses in specific areas.
So you can actually use the results to kind of improve your logical thinking skills.
Absolutely. It might suggest, specific areas to focus on or recommend resources that can help you, develop those skills further.
Okay, yeah. I'm starting to see a pattern here. The spiritual seek, it's not just about providing assessments. It's about empowering you to really grow and develop in all aspects of your being.
You're picking up on their philosophy perfectly. They really want to, equip you with the tools and insights you need to become a more well-rounded and fulfilled individual.
Okay, so we've covered emotional intelligence and logical intelligence. Now for the test that I've been kind of looking forward to all along, which is the youth wisdom test. I'm really intrigued by this idea of using Greek mythology to kind of engage younger audiences in self-discovery.
It's such a clever approach, isn't it? It taps into their imagination and makes the whole experience, feel more like an adventure than a test.
Yeah, totally. And it's a great way to kind of introduce them to these timeless archetypes and the wisdom that they represent.
Mm.
So how does it actually work? Do they actually get assigned a specific Greek god or goddess as their personality type?
That's the basic idea. The questions are designed to uncover, their core values, their strengths, their tendencies, and then based on their responses, they're matched with a mythological figure who kind of embodies those qualities.
Oh, okay. So for example, someone who's highly creative and imaginative, they might be matched with with Apollo, the god of music and poetry.
Exactly. Or someone who's a natural leader and strategist might be matched with Athena, the goddess of wisdom and
I
warfare.
love that. It's so much more engaging than just saying you're an extrovert or you're a thinker.
Right. It gives them this really tangible and relatable figure to identify with. And the test also provides this detailed explanation of their chosen figure's strengths and weaknesses. So it offers, these valuable insights into their own personality as well.
And of course they've incorporated AI into this test as well,
They
right?
have. The AI helps to analyze the responses and make sure that the matching process is accurate and nuanced. It's like having this wise oracle guiding them on their journey of self-discovery.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. It's fascinating to see how the spiritual seek has managed to create this platform that's both comprehensive and engaging, catering to this wide range of ages and interests.
They've really struck a chord with their approach, haven't they? It's not just about taking tests. It's about, embarking on this journey of self-exploration and growth.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the spiritual seek, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, which is balance.
Yeah.
It seems like that's a key theme that runs through, all of their tests and their overall philosophy.
I think you're spot on. They're really encouraging us to embrace all aspects of ourselves, the emotional, the logical, the spiritual, and even the playful.
It's about recognizing that we're complex beings and true self-discovery requires this really holistic approach.
Exactly. It's not about, choosing one side over the other. It's about integrating, all of these elements into this harmonious whole.
And I think that's a powerful message for all of us, regardless of where we are on our own journeys of self-discovery.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. I feel like I've gained a whole new understanding of what the spiritual seek is all about.
It's been a pleasure exploring it with you.
And for anyone listening who's feeling inspired to embark on their own journey of self-discovery, I highly recommend checking out the Spiritual Seek. They really do have something for everyone, whether you're looking to explore your personality, your mental age, your emotional intelligence, or even your connection to ancient wisdom.
And don't forget they also have that fantastic app, so you can access all these amazing resources right from your phone or tablet.
So take the plunge.
Mm.
Explore those different facets of yourself and see what you discover.
You might be surprised by what you find.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.